Welcome back to another episode of How I Got the Shot. So today we're going to focus on a photo shoot I did for one of my favorite clients. Her name is Keva J. She has a swimwear line based in Miami, Florida. It's a really amazing swimwear line. I've been shooting for her for multiple years and you've seen me do multiple videos for her. When it comes to photography and selling a product, you need your advertising shots, or what we call our editorial shots, and then you also need your e-commerce shots. When it comes to Keva's e-commerce shots, she prefers them all shot in white. So sometimes it's just a plain white wall, and sometimes I have to extend that wall out. But today we're actually going to do it in a studio where the background itself is the full background, including the floor and everything, is completely white. So today we're going to be shooting at Concept Studios in Pompano, Florida. My studio was unavailable, so this was a great backup plan. I actually know the owner, really cool dude. So if you're ever in South Florida and you're near Pompano and need a space to shoot, this is a great one to shoot in. The gear that we were using was a little bit different than what I have in the studio. So I still have a couple of my Profoto strobes, but I use his Godox strobes for my background lights. So I'm using two background lights to make the background go white, but it's not going to go completely white. We're just going to get it pretty close to being white. And then for my subject, I'm going to have a 5-foot Octabox and a 3-foot Octabox. And both of those are going to be stacked on top of each other to make sure I have full coverage from the top of the model to their feet. This way there's no fall off when it comes to lighting the subject. So right now you're seeing me and my assistant Justina set up everything. We're pulling out all of the pieces that we normally would use. We're talking, we're having a good time, we're listening to the music. We really have a good time on set. I like to make sure I'm enjoying myself while I'm doing this.
I like my regimen. Drink water, wash your face.
I like to be prepared, but
It's gonna be quick. We'll just show you real quick, like or I'll just blow your face out. Like, here's Keva. Woof. There's nothing there.
So we're setting up the 5-foot Octabox and the 3-foot Octabox. Once I have everything set up, as far as the lighting and the camera, I'm tethering into a MacBook that's using Capture One to actually process all the files. And now we're gonna go through the process of actually testing out everything. So I'm constantly switching my lighting, constantly trying to figure out what's going on, especially when I'm using new gear. Like, I don't know if what the issue is, but I'm trying to figure it out, as you guys can see. So now I'm testing with Justina as my subject. And then once I figure it out, we bring the model in. The model has came in. I'm gonna put her Instagram handle at the bottom so you guys can go follow her.
No. All right.
The Keva and I have already discussed what we wanted to do creatively. We've shown the model the mood board, so now it's just a matter of executing the ideas. The model obviously knows what she's doing, so it made it a lot easier to kind of just roll through things. And as you can see, the images are coming into the computer. Keva is reviewing them, and as she gives me the okay, we know we continue to move around. Our goal is to make sure we get 2 shots of each suit, a front and a back. And we make that decision on when to switch once we know, obviously, that we got the shot. So we did. In addition to the actual swimwear itself, Keva sells accessories. So we wanted to make sure we got headshots. So you can see that I've taken the camera off the tripod. I brought in a reflector because in order to get these headshots with my style, I need that reflector in there to give me that clam shot lighting. And once everybody's happy, we're good. Here we're going to bring in the second model and go through the same process. I always ask the makeup artist to check the makeup as we're going and make sure that she's happy. Because, you know, we're all creatives. I don't want anyone's work looking bad, and I want to make sure it's a good representation of what her original idea was. So I made sure she did that. She came through and made some changes, and then we went through the process again. And this is a different view of everything. I want you guys to see what the model sees, or some of what the model sees as we're making adjustments and we're figuring things out. We're doing our two model shots like we always do, to make sure we show like a comparison between different body types for the suits and show that no matter what, you're getting a suit that looks very flattering. So I'm going to show you guys in Photoshop how I'm able to quickly turn the background white and also preserve the shadows from my subject. I'll make another video on another date that like really goes into detail, but I'll show you guys a quick way of getting it done. So the first thing I do is always crop down to a 4:5 aspect ratio. This is my preferred aspect ratio, mainly because I'm posting on Instagram all the time. My client is as well, so everybody's happy with that. So you can fill in the size different ways, but I like to use content aware fill. It's pretty quick and it's pretty accurate, especially when you're just trying to fill in white. So the next thing I did was I'm using the color white, or just sampling from the side, just to get rid of the modifier that you can see in the image, because it just makes it easier for the next couple of steps. So we're going to press W and bring up our object selection tool, hit select object while we're on the layer with our subject. It creates the marching ants, it creates a selection. We're going to create a mask, and then below that we're going to put a solid layer adjustment and make that white. After that, we're going to duplicate the subject layer. We're going to desaturate it. So you can desaturate it by pressing Command Shift U, or you can go up to Image, Adjustments, and then desaturate. Now that we have the layer desaturated, we want to change the layer blending mode to multiply. So this will make sure only the darker aspects of the images comes through. I like to also use a gradient tool on that mask and bring it down to where I'm only showing the shadow that's below her feet, because that's the main thing I want to focus on anyway. Just makes it a lot easier. The next step is to press Command L, which brings up the levels tool, and I bring my black point to the right to make it a little bit darker, to make my shadows a little bit darker, and I bring the right side, which is my white, so my highlights, and I bring that left. So I bring that left so that we get rid of anything that's not really a shadow. We're taking it out of the image. Once I feel good with it, I press OK. Now the next step is I manually isolate the shadows even more. So I'm looking at the mask and I'm drawing black so I can get rid of pretty much everything else that's not that specific shadow that I'm looking for. So I do this by hand because a lot of times it's a lot quicker for me to do it that way, and also gives me more control rather than using another tool. So we're going to press Alt and click on the mask to come up to this part where it's just showing the mask only. And as you can see, I'm just brushing away the areas that I don't want a shadow in. And I'm making sure, I made a couple of mistakes here, but I'm making sure to make the brush harder so that I can get that bottom piece. So I want when Keva puts this on her website that the image blends directly into the white part of her website. So it's just my subject and her shadows, nothing else. So everything else should be white. Now the final step is to use the threshold adjustment layer. This will allow you to see if things are completely black or completely white. So as you guys can see, I saw there were some issues. And here, I'm just getting rid of anything else that shouldn't be there. Anything else that's not that shadow, any debris that's on the floor, any additional texture or colors, all of that stuff is gone because I'm getting rid of it on that shadow layer. Now I'm being very gentle around the mask. And there it is. It's pretty straightforward. It's far as my retouching process, as you guys can see, there wasn't a whole lot of things I needed to do. The makeup was done well. The models take good care of their skin, so that's working in my favor. Everybody was lit correctly, so I wasn't having to make a lot of adjustments there. There were a couple of files where I had to do some magic as far as adjusting the swimsuits, because sometimes when you're rushing, some fabric might be pushed the wrong way or something might be shifted the wrong way. And when you have a pattern on the swimsuit, it makes it even more complicated. But I was able to fix those things and the client was extremely happy. Now that you've seen the process of how I got the shots, here are the actual final edits. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a like. Be sure to subscribe. I took a little break after dealing with Art Basel. Even though I had a ton of fun, people loved my fine art series, the Eve aesthetic. It took a lot out of me, and I knew with my bandwidth, I knew with my stress level, I didn't have the motivation or I didn't have the internal motivation to make any YouTube videos, but I was thinking the whole time about them. So there will be more coming soon. I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys, and I'm looking forward to being a resource for you all. So feel free to reach out on here, on Instagram, send me messages, send me emails. Let me know what you need help with. Thanks again for watching, and be on the lookout for the next video.